Hello and welcome. Today, I am really excited. I talk to a lot of coaches across the country every Thursday. This is really something that is near and dear to my heart, trying to get out the word for college athletics, college baseball, particularly. Today, I am excited because not only am I talking to a former student athlete that I had the opportunity and the pleasure of coaching way back when dinosaurs roamed the earth. We're going to be talking NCAA Division III baseball. We're going to be talking with the head coach at Anna Maria, the all-time winningest coach in Anna Maria history, baseball coach Dan Brion. Danny, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. I'm really excited about talking to you.
Thanks for having me.
Well, the first thing I want to talk about is now that you are year 8 as a head coach, you are getting athletes from all over the country, as you and I were discussing a little bit before we get started here. And a lot of parents are looking for information about NCAA Division III. Yes, it's probably more prevalent in the Northeast than anywhere else, but talk about not only the GNAC, but all of the Division III schools in the greater New England area and your experience as a former Division III athlete.
I think it's a great opportunity for guys, and it's something that's overlooked a lot because people think scholarships and Division One, Division Two, but like we've said before, it's a academic focus, but an opportunity to compete at a high level. And Division Three baseball in the last 5 years, it's never been better than it is right now, and there's Division One kids all over Division Three baseball, and it's about finding the right fit academically and socially and where you fit in and have an opportunity to play. I mean, how many stories have we heard over the years? Guys go to school A or school B and, they're 15th guy on the depth chart. There's 70 kids in the dugout when they get in there. And guys want to play. So what it's done, it creates opportunities to play. And I'll steal one from one of my buddies that coaches at a different school, but Division three players don't win in Division three. I mean, we're looking for those tweener Division one guys that are really good athletes that might be a tick slower on the stopwatch or topping at 88 instead of 92, or you know what I mean. There's all those magic numbers to get drafted or get scholarships, and so we're just looking for dudes that can play the game the right way. And like I said, there is Division one talent littered all across Division three baseball, and for a myriad of reasons, with academic fit, opportunity, and it's just that's the way the game has kind of shifted in the last 5 years. So it's super competitive right now, and it's a lot of fun to be a part of.
One of the things, when I was coaching at our former school, no longer with us, Becker College, I used to always say to parents, when you're coming to a Division III school, it's your opportunity to be a part of a community, a part of a family. Obviously, you still have friends that you played with during your time at Becker, and I would love for you to talk about the campus life in Paxton, Massachusetts, which is right outside of Worcester, which is the home of Anna Maria. And I would love for you to talk about your roster because, Danny, you have players from Florida, you've had players from California when we were at Becker. I mean, Division III athletics truly is for those athletes that embrace being part of a culture, a community, and a campus life such as Anna Maria.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I mean, like, Worcester is a college town, and back when I went to school compared to now, like the transformation with adding the Woo Sox and all that, there's a lot of technology and a lot of companies that have like built homes in Worcester, and um, the housing has changed the way they turn these old mills into condos that are like these luxurious, like $2,000 a month, like apartments and stuff. You can walk downtown. So it's just they've restored the city, which is it's like a vibrant city life now downtown or all around the stadium and stuff. So that's been a game changer here. And like I've said before, like we have that quiet suburban campus setting, so you can have as much of the city life as you want to have. You can get downtown 10 minutes from campus, but you got your nice quiet country setting here on campus. So like I said, you kind of have the best of both worlds. And yeah, we like the core of our team is always going to be those Central Mass. We got to keep the best players in Central Mass home, but our 3, 4, 5 hitters are all from Palm Beach County in Florida. We got a catcher committed from California next year. We've got all region guys that we've had. I got on the wall behind me here that have been from California, Nevada, Arizona. So it's just, and like I said, we have criminal justice and fire science and sports management would be our three big ticket majors. And if that's something that you want to study, we've had 60 police chiefs come to Anna Maria. You know what I mean? So it's like you have a great alumni base and, and a ton of opportunities, internships, and that one on one relationship with your professor that, you know, guys like me, guys that I played with, we needed that. We have a college degree because we had the structure of a baseball program, because we wanted to play, we wanted to compete, and had that built-in accountability, and that's what we provide here in a one-on-one kind of academic setting where you have a relationship with your professor and they know who you are. You're not just a number. You're not just clicking a button on a thing for attendance. They're going to know if you're in class, not in class, and they'll let us know for sure. And it's that built-in accountability that a lot of guys need. It helps open a ton of doors for them in their future.
Well, I can attest to, the community itself where Anna Maria is located. I raised both of my sons in that general geographical area. And, Paxton A is a beautiful community, very close, accessible, not only to the city of Worcester, but to several highways that take you, not only to Boston, but Connecticut, Rhode Island, et cetera. And I would like to talk a little bit on that topic about the GNAC, which is what the Greater New England Athletic Conference, or the Great Northeast Athletic Conference, used to be back in the day anyway, and talk a little bit about the schools that you face: Mitchell, LaSalle, Johnson and Wales with the Coach Case times two. But talk a little bit about that's a really extremely competitive athletic conference, not only in baseball, but all sports.
Yeah. So when we got here, it really wasn't that. You know, the league was kind of down, and again, the transformation over the last, I would say, 6 years, right before COVID. Like, schools have made a significant investment in baseball, in athletics. St. Joe's, Connecticut now, they have a brand new turf field. They're really well coached. They have athletes all over the diamond. They got kids that could play on any team in New England. Johnson Will's been to the NCAA tournament a bunch of times. Mitchell, but Mitchell's been in the regional final the last 2 years. So we always talk, with coaches from different leagues and stuff, and it's like this league and that league. Well, you know, the last 2 years we've had three teams in the regional final from the GNAC, and Mitchell, same thing last year. They win the league, they go to the NCAA's, and they knock off Salisbury, they knock off Babson, and they're in the regional. So it's like for us to get to the NCAA tournament, you have to get through two regionally ranked opponents, and it's the depth of the league and the quality of the competition in the league. And now the way we do it, it's 2 nines every Saturday. And so within your pod, you're playing double headers, and outside your pod, you're playing a single nine. So every game's 9 innings, which changes the dynamic. And, the playoff format, we're trying to get a team ready to play in the NCAA tournament. So whoever's going to represent us in the tournament, you want them to be battle tested, and you want them to be ready to. So we do like a regional, super regional format. So you got to win a 4-team bracket, and then you got to win a 2 out of 3 series against the other bracket champ if you're going to go to the NCAA. So I think that's really transformed the league. That the style that we play during the season and in the postseason has been a huge addition, and it's really been an enhancement, and it's a great experience for the kids.
What I would really like to talk about, couple topics. The first one is, it's no secret with the NCAA settlement and the changes going on at the Division I level. There's obviously a fallback, trickle down effect that is in play here, but Division III has emerged as the main or the major beneficiary of all of these changes. So, talk a little bit about when you're talking to athletes, as you alluded to, that may aspire to play at a higher level. What are some of the financial incentives at the Division III level, whether it's merit money, grant money, anything to do with opportunity for financial aid packages that can be incentives for out of state athletes to attend Anna Maria?
Yeah, so we're a private school, so regardless of where you're from, if you're in Texas or Massachusetts or Rhode Island, you're eligible for the same financial aid. So like we have really good aggressive merit scholarships. So right off the bat, if good students are going to get 50 to 60% scholarship academically right out of. So we we don't have athletic money, but we have academic money. So like we'll give, there's any 10 schools that'll give a $2,500 athletic scholarship and the kids want to go there. It's like, well, we're giving you a $28,000 academic scholarship. Where do you
Right.
want to go? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, young kids, teenagers, they have a difficult time. Everybody wants to get a scholarship. We all grew up, we all want to play at Texas or UCLA, but it's the same thing, money and opportunity. So you have the opportunity to play and you have the opportunity to get a good scholarship package and a financial aid package. And there's all kinds of need based aid, especially Anna Maria does a great job with the first generation students. So they want to create opportunities for families to build generational wealth, and it starts with getting a great education and being exposed to not just the stuff in the classroom, but the stuff in the city with the internships, and creating opening doors for kids that never would have had that opportunity if it wasn't for a place like this. So that's one of the things that I'm most proud of here is that they go out of their way to create opportunity for people, even if the door's been closed 9 other times for them.
Well, I think parents have this understanding that Division 3 schools don't recruit. They don't attend. They don't have college camps. They're not out. Seeing players on a regular basis. They assume that all of that is done at the Division 1 and the Division 2 levels. But I know that you're very active within not only your local community in Northbridge, but you're very aggressively out seeing, whether it's travel tournaments, Legion games, Legion regional events. Can you explain a little bit about how you and your staff go out and not only with regard to recruiting, but bringing awareness to for a family about Anna Maria?
Yeah, I mean, we like to go out and see guys play. I mean, you see all these kids that light it up in a showcase, but they couldn't hit a breaking ball if you paid them. It's just and are they winning players? Can they bunt? It's so frustrating when we get into fall ball and you have these kids that played travel ball their whole life. They've never had to lay down a sacrifice bunt, and so that's why I like the Legion. It's you're playing a win. You're not just playing to showcase your abilities, and so we'll look for winning players. So I like to go to games and watch kids play and walk around the backfields. Having NEBC has been awesome too because it's brought a lot of like big time tournaments. So we'll have teams from Florida, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. They'll all be up here, and when they play in these tournaments, the Boston Open and stuff like that, so you'll have teams that you would have never saw in a million years, 10, 15 years ago. But now because we have this tremendous facility in Central Mass, and all the auxiliary facilities around it, it brings these teams in that you normally wouldn't be within our budget to get down and see as much. We want to go to Florida and we want to go out there as much as we can, and we do to a certain extent, but we can't see everybody that we want to see. So having them come to us and we just have to take a ride over to Northborough and be able to watch, if we put 3 coaches over there, we could watch 9 games in a day if we spend enough time over there. So that's been a big difference for us. But for me, it's about seeing the kids play. Are they a winning player? Do they hustle on and off the field? Are they able to get a bunt down if that's what the team needs to win a ball game? Are they backing up bases? Are they filling up the strike zone? Do they, when the shortstop boots it, is the pitcher yelling at him and making a scene, or does he just go out and make another pitch and pick his teammate up? We want to find winning players. You don't always get to see that in a showcase, but you definitely get to see that when you see them play and when the bullets are live.
That's a great topic that I would love to get you to expand on. And I always try to explain to parents, the showcases or the camps, they offer a glimpse of maybe how your skill sets, they flash. But games, situations, whether your team is ahead, behind, tie ball game, execution. My whole philosophy when I was coaching, and I know it's yours as well, is winners execute. Nobody makes excuses. We don't need to know the sun or the umpire or the rock that the ball hit. We need to make sure that we're executing. Talk about at the college level, regardless of your year of graduation, senior or freshman, players that get between the lines are those that are able to execute when called upon, but most importantly, they're prepared. So if you can talk a little bit about not only your fall preparation, your winter preparation, how do you get your athletes truly prepared to be at their best and execute when called upon?
We like to simulate game-like conditions as much as we can. So in the fall, we scrimmage a bunch, and the best thing for us now is we have this like Division 1 type field house right down the street from campus. So we work out at the soccer asylum in Paxton, and it's a 225 by 195-foot indoor turf facility. So we could take a full infield in there. We have a short center and a short right field, and there's just nothing behind third and short. So it's a little bit of a simulated game type situation, but we do a lot of bunt scrimmages in there, and we get to handle the baseball on turf every day, even in when there's a foot of snow on the ground outside. And that's the biggest thing is, especially in the Northeast, you got to find these gritty kids. I mean, we're playing games in 38 degrees, 42 degrees, windy, overcast. We against Worcester State this year, it snowed in the fifth and the sixth inning. I mean, that's just but so you got to be ready for anything. And then this weekend was our first good weather we played in all year, and it's the second last weekend of the regular season. So we have to train for these adverse conditions, and we have to put them in game situations. Sometimes you just got to hit a ground ball the right side, or sometimes you just need a fly ball to get the tying run in extra innings, or whatever the case may be. So, does a kid understand that? Do I have to tell him that, hey, we need a ground ball the right side? Or does he just kind of choke up, get on the plate, and look to go that way? Like that instinctual baseball stuff that it's hard to teach, the instincts of the game. So you try to find kids that have that, and then we try to accentuate that with our development throughout the season and put them in game like conditions and make them execute and try to make practice simulate game day so that when we're in those high leverage situations, it's another day at the office.
I would, first of all, I love that philosophy, as you know. One of the things that I really try to get parents and athletes to understand is a lot of times young athletes fully mature as far as from a skill set perspective, but more importantly, from a strength perspective, when they're seniors in high school and freshmen in college, you remember the freshman 15. I mean, kids change. And I'll never forget on a cold, windy, blustery day in Salem, Mass, our former friend Fat Tone coming out of Quincy, North Quincy High School, showing up at Salem State, throwing rockets out of from the left side, and the head coach at Salem said, "Geez, where the heck did you get this kid?" But my point to him was, this was a very introverted kid in high school. He came to college, really became part of a group of guys and a family, extended family, and he just kind of blossomed. And that's really what Division III athletics are all about. So share a little bit about that, maybe a story or two on an athlete that might have shown up under the radar, but by the time they were a sophomore, junior, became an integral part of your program.
Yeah, and Fat Tone, one of my best friends. I mean, I remember being a freshman, and going over the house with the guys, and Tone was one of the guys that pulled us aside and kind of taught us how life worked. And I'll never forget that. Him, J-Pa, Devin, those guys taking us in when we were freshmen and making us feel part of it right away. And that's something that I've carried with me as a player and as a coach. And so like our thing is like we try to integrate the new guys every year right away, get them up to speed with how we do things. You're one of 32 guys. There's no freshmen, there's no seniors. You're just one of the guys. And like this year especially, so I was telling you before we came on, like our starting catcher 3-hitter goes down the end of the Florida trip, and we weren't sure what to do. You know what I mean? And Evan Dumney, as the year has gone on, we knew he was a stud. He's a gritty kid from Enfield, Connecticut, played on a team that lost in the state finals. He was a 2-hitter. He can run, he can bunt, he can handle the bat. He's a plus outfielder. He can play second base. He's a catcher, captain of his high school team. So that was the kid that I'm telling the guys about in August, that we're getting. And, you know, takes time for certain guys, and to watch him kind of develop through the season and getting the opportunity to play and getting thrown into the fire and really step up. I mean, that as a coach, that makes you proud because it's like, okay, what we're doing works, and he gets it. And it takes time. Some guys are ready to play September 10th the first day of fall ball. Some guys aren't ready to play till their junior year. And there's a bunch of guys that are tweeners in the middle there. And the other one from this year is John Gardasconi, another kid from Florida. He's our cleanup hitter now. He had up and down freshman year last year, doesn't really have a position, nice lefty stick. He can swing it. He had to like punch his way into the lineup. and he'd have to do it. It's hard to get going when you're getting one at bat a game. It's hard to get going when you're pinch hitting and you've been sitting there since 10:30 in the morning and it's 42 degrees out and it's freezing rain going on, and now you get thrown in and you're facing a kid who's 87 with a slider, and it's like, hey, go get him, big guy. Like, what I mean? It's tough to get going. So, but as a player and a coach, we understand that. So at some point, it's like we just got to get him at bats and let him get going. And he started swinging it in Florida, and he hasn't come out of line. He's been on fire since the middle of the Florida trip. And and again, it hasn't been easy for him. He had to, certain things had to fall into place for it. But to see him get going and become the hitter that we knew he could be, like, it gets me. I'm fired up sitting here talking to you about it. I can't wait to play tomorrow because I can't wait to get him back in the batter's box and see him hit again.
So, obviously parents and athletes that are going to be watching and listening, how do you want potential AMCATs, Anna Maria student athletes to reach out to you? Are you social media savvy? Are you more of an email guy? How do you prefer for not only yourself but also your coaching staff to be contacted by potential recruits?
Well, JP Ricciardi said forever, good players come from anywhere. You could come from a one stoplight town in the middle of Kansas. One of the best hitters I've ever coached was Nate Patchka from Douglas. They might only had 3 or 4 good baseball players in the history of the earth come out of Douglas High, and he was on kid mashed. I mean, they used to have to move the trash cans on the softball field when we would play Legion games down at Northridge Middle School because he would pound the ball out there and interrupt the softball game. So it's a little bit of everything. It's not a cookie cutter, one size fits all. And we do a lot of stuff on social media, like with Twitter and Instagram. DM guys will send us DMs, they'll send us film. And like I said, we got to see you play. We can't be everywhere. So if you send us some video, even some rounds in a cage, a bullpen video that mom takes you hitting a double in a high school game, our email and my cell phone is on our website. So if you want to send me an email, shoot me a text. But however, get in contact with us, get video to us so that we can see you play, and share your schedule with us. We're out of time. I'm out probably 5 days a week once the season's over all summer. Andrew Rodriguez, he's our recruiting coordinator and pitching coach. He's out all the time. Nick Genatasio, these guys both played for me. They've been with me all 8 years here as players and now as coaches. Their dogs out on the road too, so like they're going to be out there. You can, if you hit any one of us up, whether it's social media or through the website, we're going to get out. You can fill out our recruiting questionnaire. We're going to get out and see you. We're going to get in touch with you, and we want to bring as many good players in as we can that love baseball, love to compete, and play the game the right way. And at the Division III level, more than anything, I think anywhere, you go to Vanderbilt, you need guys that take ownership of their development. Okay, you're not just. We say it all the time. You're not gonna play professional baseball if you're just taking your 4 rounds in the cage with us every day, and you're taking your 50 ground balls that we're gonna hit you or whatever. It's the guys that are hitting at 9, 10 o'clock at night on their own when the coaches aren't there, especially the way the rules are in Division III. We can only be with them 16, 20 times in the fall. You better be working out, lifting 4 days a week, and taking your reps in the offseason, hitting and throwing and following the return. We have the return and throwing program from Eric Schoenberg, who's a Cressy guy, who we defer to him when it comes to our pitching development and building guys up and all that. And he's been a really valuable resource for us the last few years. And like, we're lucky enough to be a 45-minute drive away from Cressy's. We've sent guys up to work with Eric in the off season, and because that we can't have that hands-on approach in December and January, but they can, and we try to emulate all the things that they do. But you're looking for guys that take, these guys that are in pro ball, they take ownership of their development. They're not always hitting with the hitting coach, or, they're hitting with each other at night. They're hitting down in the cage in a tunnel, even at Fenway. You know what I mean? So it's not something that it's a magical thing that's just going to happen just with the, in a 2-hour practice every day. So we put the emphasis on character, guys that love to compete, and guys that really take ownership of their development. And the best players that we've had here, and we've had 15 all-region players. We had the player of the year 3 times, pitcher of the year twice, rookie of the year 3 times. It's not by accident. They're the hardest workers. They're the guys that are in the cage that you got to go in and like shut the lights off and be like, all right, man, go to bed. Or it's okay to take a day off today. Those guys that are dogs that are in there in the off season, grinding away. You don't have to poke them and prod them to get them in the gym. They do it on their own. Those are the best players at this level. Whether it's professional baseball, Division I, Division II, JUCO, Division III, those guys are the ones that are most successful in college baseball because it's a really competitive environment no matter what level of college baseball you go to.
Well, I want to let parents know that first and foremost, all the information pertaining to Anna Maria, not only for Coach Brienne, but his staff, the athletic department, we're going to have that all available in the description. Obviously, you can find everything that has to do with Anna Maria baseball, as well as Coach Brienne's contact information in the Baseball Blue Book. Want to encourage you more now than ever before with all of the enhancements that have been brought to the app for Baseball Blue Book. That is how college coaches are beginning to interact with student athletes by seeing their video. They have the contact information. They get up-to-date information with regard to your grades, your transcripts, etc. So everything to do with Anna Maria will be available not only in the Blue Book, but here on the video as well as the podcast. Also want to end with this. Speak with college coaches all over the country, probably hundreds during the course of any given month. Dan Brion was everything that he just discussed as far as taking accountability and ownership. He exemplified that as a student athlete. He ended up becoming a captain his junior and senior years at Becker College, probably one of the grittiest left-hand hitters I've ever coached, watched play. These are the types of coaches that you as parents want your student athletes, want your child to play for, because over and above the sport of baseball, as far as a life mentor, being honest, being candid, being available when your student athlete has things that they want to talk about off the field of play. That's the kind of relationship and rapport not only does Coach Brienne bring, but also his staff, because they're former athletes, and he's passing on the baton to his former athletes and helping them become coaches. Dan, I want to say thank you for taking the time to join me. I know we're still in mid-season. Best of luck in the GNAC upcoming series and tournament, and hope you get to the NCAAs this year, Captain.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
That was great, Dan.